All right, guys, before we jump into the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Strava Craft Coffee. This stuff is delicious. It's CBD infused, and it can help you with a lot of things, aches and pains, arthritis. CBD has benefits that range extremely wide, so make sure you check out Strava Craft Coffee. It's a great way to get that morning boost, and a lot of people say that CBD infusion helps them stay away from those coffee jitters. So check them out, StravaCraftCoffee.com. And when you use the code DNVR20, you can get 20% off. And then the next time you use it, you can use DNVR25 and you can get 25% off. You can also subscribe to Strava Craft Coffee and have them send it straight to your door based on the interval that you choose, 2, 3, 4, 6, or 8 weeks. You tell them, I want 2 bags every 3 weeks. Boom, there they are. So you don't have to worry about running to the store to get coffee, and you will always have it sent straight to your door from our friends over at Strava. Check them out, StravaCraftCoffee.com. Happy Friday and welcome into another edition of Three Ring Circus. RK here, joined by my guys Zach and Mace, and soon our special guest Troy Renck. But before we jump in, I want to tell you that the DNVR Broncos podcast, every DNVR Broncos podcast, is presented by MSU Denver Online. Check them out, msudenver.edu/online. Earn your degree while keeping your job. MSU Denver students work twice as many hours as students attending any other Colorado institution. So keep that job, get that education so you can hopefully get a better job at some point. And MSU Denver, 750 total classes, 45 plus hybrid programs, everything you need over at msudenver.edu/online.
My boys, what a day this is. Great vibes all over the place. We got the Rockies undefeated. We have the Nuggets on a roll. It's Good Friday, and a Good Friday it is, guys. Little birthday for me. Pumped to be rolling with you guys. Pumped to be on this show. We can get our vaccinations starting today. I mean, everything is good. The vibes are exceptional, and I'm so pumped to be joined by Troy Renck on this podcast. Guys, let's go. Troy, what's up?
What's going on, guys? Great to see you. Hey, was I going to get the memo on these Hawaiian shirts? Look at you guys. You look like you're in a Love Boat episode.
We're all just waiting for someone to just do it without us telling them.
Well, now you know for next time. That's the thing. Once we work our way around the lineup, and then we start going back to the top of the order again with guests, then I think everybody's going to know you got to break out the floral look, the aloha shirt, the tropical vibe.
Well, listen, I'm just working and easing myself back into a future life of pants without elastics. So let's go easy here.
No, I think those are here to stay, Troy. At least they're here to stay for me.
I anchored at Denver 7 a few weeks ago, and I wore my sweatpants because it's just a top shot up. Even though I was in studio, I was still in my sweatpants. I couldn't even bring myself in studio to wear dress slacks.
That's great. Troy, before we jump in, I want to ask, what's the best April Fool's Day prank that you've ever been either on the right or wrong side of?
I mean, that Von Miller one a couple years ago about the trade was pretty good. I mean, he hit people pretty hard with that. Like, people took that hard. I mean, I was that like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, when he said it was great Denver a couple years ago, that was a good one. The best pranks I've heard of just never happened on April Fools. They were just pranks on guys. Professional players. The popcorn one with Kenyon Martin, where they actually put buttered popcorn and they ruined the seats in his car. That was a great one. And there's a great prank where Peyton Manning put a bunch of mattresses in Matt Prater's like hotel room or during training camp. Mace, I think, knows this one, where he literally couldn't open the door because of mattresses that were relocated. So the best pranks I've heard of, I would say this, the best prank, and it might have been on April 1st. Mace would know this. Derek Bell was playing for the Toronto Blue Jays, a famous outfielder, not famous, but a pretty good outfielder. And they'd announced over the loudspeaker they were doing a raffle giveaway for a customized truck. And they bring it in from the outfield fence, and it's Derek Bell's truck. And he absolutely lost his mind. And they're like, if you have number 0876, you have a brand new 2001 Ford. He was losing it. That was a good one. That was one of my favorite ones.
That's incredible. That takes some like inside intel. You got to get his keys.
Hey, that Punked episode with Justin Timberlake still is the best one I've ever seen on TV. With Dak Shepard when they were loading up all his cars. And I saw that Timberlake, that was on Punked with Ashton Kutcher. I guess he admitted like part of the reason he was so out, he was high as a kite during that episode. So because he was on the phone crying to his mom. They're taking my cars, Mom. It was so hilarious. But now I guess he came out recently and said he was just blasted.
That's amazing. All right. Well, speaking of April Fools, that is the name of our game today. And it's a pretty simple concept. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to show you, I guess, a statement. And if you think it's not going to happen, then you say April Fools. And if you think it's going to happen, then we just start talking about why it's going to happen. Simple enough.
So let's jump in. And our first April Fools for you, Troy. The Broncos will trade up in the first round. Is this the news everyone's going to hear and be excited about?
I don't think so. As much as I hope so for TV, because it makes great TV, because it would mean they're going up for a quarterback. I just don't believe they're willing, where they are with their roster right now, to sacrifice multiple first-round picks. I think the more likely scenario is they move back a couple, pick up a second-round pick. But I don't, as we sit here today, I don't know that I haven't been told from sources they love a quarterback up to move up in the first round.
So that would be April Fools, unfortunately. If they were, who's your favorite quarterback up there, that is actually attainable for the Broncos?
I mean, for me, it's Justin Fields. If Mac Jones is going 3, I'm bullish on Justin Fields. And I know the history of Ohio State quarterbacks stinks in the pros. I mean, there's really not one or Art Schlichter. I mean, listen, the history of Ohio State quarterbacks is awful in the league. But I don't hold that against Justin Fields. I've been watching that kid since he was in high school on QB1 on Netflix. I mean, this guy was the top quarterback from like age 16 with Trevor Lawrence to now. So I'd have he's not a running quarterback. He's a passing quarterback who can run. I do wonder how Pat Shurmur would make all that fit. But if you're asking me, Ryan, I would be completely comfortable trading up to get Justin Fields. If, am I in love with him enough to do it? Again, it's easy for me to say I'm not the GM. But if I were to do it, it would be for Justin Fields.
Well, I think it's interesting. I mean, Pat Shurmur matters in this, but the guy who's been at George Payton's side at these pro day visits has been Mike Shula. And the significance of that with Fields is that, of course, Shula very successfully developed Cam Newton, and Cam was a guy who wanted to run more than Justin Fields. I mean, I could see Shula looking at Fields and saying, I could do what I did with Cam, only I could do it better because he's pass first. He doesn't run to contact, and he's highly intelligent.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mace. I like Fields. Yeah. I think he's got kind of a bad rap because, everyone's fallen in love with Zach Wilson, and Mac Jones is just, out of the stratosphere, going from a potential late first rounder to 3 overall. Like, for me, if you go back and look in September, people were, not me, but you're talking about Fields going 1 over Lawrence.
Yeah.
And he had a couple bad games against Indiana and Northwestern. I get it. And they were ugly, but this idea he's not a potentially. I think he might have the highest ceiling of any of them.
Yeah,
I like Fields. I'm more bullish. And I could be wrong. Again, that's part of this draft process. But from what I've seen of Fields and what I know about him and people that know him, I'm bullish on Fields.
I think it's totally a situation where the longer a guy is in the limelight, the more people get bored of them, start nitpicking them a little more. Like, for example, Trey Lance is new to people, and I really like Trey Lance. But, Justin Fields has been in the spotlight, like you said, since he was in high school. And so people there's like a fatigue that happens, and they're like, oh, there's this new thing I can look at. I like this a lot, and it takes a while for the cycle to get past all the things you love about a guy to all the things you don't like about a guy. Trevor Lawrence, it doesn't matter for him. You know, everyone already knows he's number one. They're not even going to bother nitpicking him because you could. But I think with Fields, it's one of those things where people are just got bored of him. Now they want to nitpick him.
Yeah, listen, I mean, at some point, it's like you're talking about the mole on Cindy Crawford's face. Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about? Like, even with Lawrence, you know, I've seen it. Oh, he didn't play his best in this game or that game. It's like you make a great point, Ryan. That's part of the reason I think that helped Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. They were late to the game. Murray started had one great year in college. Kyler Murray, go back, even look at my guy, Mark Sanchez, one great year in college. You don't get scrutinized the same way when you start 3 years and your game's on every Saturday that everybody's watching. I mean, again, I like Zach Wilson. If you go back to last year where we were with Zach Wilson, he was going to John Beck so he could win the job back at BYU.
Yeah.
He was terrible at BYU his previous season. It doesn't mean that he won't be good in the NFL. I'm just to your point, Ryan. If BYU was on national TV playing LSU and Auburn and Florida State, there's no way people would be talking about him the same way they are right now.
Well, it's a great point, Troy. And so you mentioned that you don't necessarily think the Broncos are in love with any of these guys, and there's a chance that Fields could go 3 overall. There is a connection with Kyle Shanahan there, but let's say he's there. I mean, when do you see the Broncos potentially making a move? Whether it's up if he's there at 4, up if he's there at 5, up if he's there at 7, or do you see a scenario where, like we saw in Todd McShay's mock draft yesterday, where he falls to 9? And the Broncos say, yeah, no thanks, we're going to go a different direction. I mean, is that something you could see happening? Is one of these top guys falling to 9 and the Broncos saying no to them?
Not quarterback. I mean, Penny Sewell, that's he had him falling too. I wrote on the DenverChannel.com that if either Fields or Sewell are there at 9, they're taking one of them. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but I mean, if Fields falls to my lap at 9, I'm taking him.
Yeah.
And I'll figure out the rest. And again, unless their scouting of him came up with something where it scared him off, I don't see a scenario where he goes to 9. I just don't. Could Atlanta take Kyle Pitts at 4 so you have a chance that, okay, they don't take him. They like Matt Ryan. They want to keep that situation for a couple years. Okay, Bengals aren't in the market for a quarterback. So, and then you get to 6 with the Dolphins. They're likely going to go receiver there. That's where it gets interesting. At 7, if I'm the Broncos and the Lions are on the board there, if you really want a quarterback, then you have to make the move to go to 7 because you've lucked out in some degree that someone hasn't jumped you at 4 or 5. Again, that's what, as much as I said, man, that'd be a great value. Get him even at 7. I don't know what Carolina would be. Mason knows Carolina better, but I can't imagine if Atlanta takes Pitts that Carolina doesn't try to just zoom up to the Bengals and just say, okay, we've had enough. We got to get our guy. Yeah. That's why a lot of these scenarios we talk about, it's in a vacuum. But if he's there at 9, Zach, there's no way that, for me, that they would pass on Sewell or Fields. I don't know how you guys feel.
Oh, I hope you're right, Troy.
Scenario where they would pass on both those guys at 9.
And the thing with Carolina, of course, I mean, obviously Atlanta's almost certainly not going to deal with them at number 4, but Carolina for a while was really zeroed in, of course, on Deshaun Watson. With everything coming out on Watson, that is basically on ice. So they are actively looking for another plan forward here, assuming that Deshaun Watson is not going to be in the mix. I mean, Carolina is a team that in the past, they've had some major issues with guys, different types of issues. They went through Greg Hardy. They went through Ray Caruth. With everything around Deshaun Watson, I think as an organization, they're going to say no thanks, and they're looking very strongly in these other directions. I think Carolina would give up a lot to move up to 5 if Fields is sitting there.
The weird thing I'll say is, like, I almost wouldn't like it if Justin Fields falls to 9 and the Broncos take him and they say something along the lines of like, yeah, we never thought he would be available at 9. Like, we were surprised. The reason I say that is because, like, if you're going to go get a quarterback in the first round, I want you to not even think that 9 is an option. Like, we love him so much, we can't let him go past 5 or whatever. It's like, I want you to be so convicted that you don't care what you have to give up because this is your guy.
Well, I'll ask you guys this then. What about if they do move up and then Trey Lance is the one who falls? Do you take Lance at 9? Because that's where, for me, it gets interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm not nearly as convicted on Lance. I wouldn't have an issue if they took him, but for me, he's a redshirt guy. He's going to need a year after 17 starts at, the sub level. For me, how does that help Fangio? Is that just Peyton starting his clock over for the next coach the following year? That gets tricky for me. How do you guys feel if Lance is there at 9?
Man, I'm taking any of the 5 quarterbacks if they're there at 9.
I'm big on Lance. But you're right. I mean, organizationally, there's a lot of question marks there. The other thing is you're going to bring him in, and Pat Shurmur is going to be the offensive coordinator, and then I think after one more year, now you're going to be searching for a new offensive coordinator, new quarterbacks coach. So now you're redoing the whole system for a guy that you just redshirted. How valuable was that redshirt year, honestly? So there's a lot of question marks there that make it tougher for me to pull the trigger. But just the player, I really like Lance. All right, let's get to our next one here.
All right, Troy, is this an April Fool's thing? A straw has 2 holes. This is a big debate. How many holes does a straw have? 1, 2, none?
What are you guys talking about? I'm on punk now. 2.
2 holes. Oh,
2 holes. Hook 'em?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my metal days, Zach. Motley Crue. Too Fast for Love. Livewire.
2 holes. This is an age-old debate. A lot of straw purists say 0 holes.
It's just a funnel.
Just a pipe. It's just a funnel.
Exactly. Well, now that we got that sorted out, easy to go on to the next one. All right, next one. Drew Lock will be the starting quarterback in 2021.
For game 1, I would say yes. For the full season, I would say no.
Oh, okay. I like that. And Troy, when you say that, I mean, you say it with just a lot of, it's kind of like, yeah, he'll be the starting quarterback in 2021. It's not with much conviction, which I totally understand. What do you think ends up being the Broncos' plan at quarterback now that we're here April 2nd and we still haven't had a single move at quarterback? Heck, they haven't even cut Jeff Driscoll. There's been 0 moves at quarterback.
Yeah, Driscoll's showing up every day with his key card like, wait, this thing still works? What the heck's going on? Listen, I'm not going to judge George Payton on the quarterback thing until the day after the draft because I do think now they're at the point where it's very clear they're going to slow play this. If they wanted Alex Smith, they could have signed him. So he's sitting there. There's your one card you could play. If it kind of falls apart, hey, we'll go get Alex Smith, mentor, great guy. Okay. But if you want to trade for Teddy Bridgewater, you want to trade for Nick Foles. I mean, again, Nick Foles, great guy. He retired 2 years ago and didn't tell anyone. That does nothing for me. Teddy Bridgewater, he's Case Keenum or Keesum.
I see what you did there.
He's the same guy. Like I love the character of him. I do. There's no upside to Teddy Bridgewater. And so now, again, I would bring in Minshew of that group. I don't know how they feel. I mean, again, Minshew's 37 touchdowns, 11 picks. Everyone keeps saying, like, he's not an upgrade over Locke. Did Locke change his stats? Did I miss? Did he use whiteout on his stats or Adobe Photoshop? I mean, Mitch played some games. But my point is, I'm not going to judge Peyton until after the draft because somebody might move up. Like Andrew said, maybe it's Carolina, maybe it's a team, maybe it's the Patriots, maybe it's a team we're not even thinking about that says we got to go get our quarterback of the future, and now it's available that we didn't think. Garoppolo, if you want to do it for 1 year, again, Jimmy G to me is in some ways he's Locke. He struggles with availability and he struggles with interceptions. And I'm not giving up on Locke. They've got to have someone to push him. And why do I think he'd be the starter to start the season? Because I just feels like right now, and I hope I'm wrong, it's going to be more the Foles, Alex Smith variety, and he would win that competition initially, and then they would have a guy you could go to the bullpen. That I feel right now in terms of why do I think Locke would start. But Locke, talking to teammates, man, they're convinced he's going to come out firebrand. Like he understands the urgency. He's handled all this adversity well, and I hope he does. That's a great story too. I root for the story. Him figuring it out is a great story. But that's why I just, as we sit here right now, I think he would be the starter to start the season.
Well, the thing with Locke, the issue has not been kind of the work ethic, what he does in practice. The issue has been taking what he knows he should do, what he's learned from practice, and then when you get in a game situation, pressure's bearing down on you, making that good decision. And so, I mean, that's why I think I agree. I think Drew Lock is probably going to be the starting quarterback in week 1, but the issue isn't getting to that point. It's him staying healthy and him then being out there when he's under duress, making the right read and not trying to throw to a window that isn't there. That type of decision has led to so many of his mistakes, because if let's say they've even got like a Gardner Minshew in the bullpen, and you mentioned the touchdown interception ratio with the defense that you have put together, and with the skill position players you have, it's very much a situation where you're asking your quarterback to be smart, make prudent decisions, and not screw this up. Because if you've got a top 5 defense and you have weapons like Sutton, Judy, Fant on offense, you ought to be able to win 10 games with basically mid-tier quarterback play.
Yeah. I don't think Drew Lock wins the job if it's Minshew. I think if it's one of the older guys, I think he does. Minshew comes in. I mean, he charms the fans. The fans are jumping ship. I mean, instantly. Even the Lock people are saying like, "Oh, this Minshew guy, he's got moxie," and the coaching staff is obviously going to see that he turns the ball over less. The receivers are getting the ball. I think that would be. I think. Honestly, Minshew would probably make quick work of Drew Lock. But all the other ones, the Foles, the Alex Smith, that's one where the Broncos are going to give the tiebreaker to the young guy who, they spent a draft pick on.
Well, and Troy, you're absolutely right about Minshew. 37 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. This guy is also a Fangio guy. He doesn't turn the ball over. That's what Vic wants. And he also produces. And guys, if Minshew is here, do we get to break out the Drew Timmy celebration and, go down the stash and then up in the air every time there's a score? I'd love to adopt that.
Minshew looks like the lead singer from that band in Almost Famous. He is just everything about.
We bring this out, Troy.
Yeah. Minshew, from the jorts to he's gonna have a skullet soon. He's going bald, so he's gonna have a skullet instead of a mullet. He just oozes cool. But again, But I think it's funny. The local perception of Minshew is this crazy guy, long hair, who's just taking chances. That's not who he is as a quarterback.
No.
It's basically a juxtaposition of the personality you see from afar to the guy that plays on Sundays. That's his play at quarterbacks, what the Broncos have been desperate for since Manning retired.
Yeah.
At 2-1 interception to pick ratio, as Mace mentioned, with a good defense can get you to 10 wins. The problem is I keep telling people this, as much as I love their defensive moves, you can't be a top 5 defense if your offense averages 20 points a game, because you get no turnovers. The league's turnover reverse. And if you're trailing 10-3, 17-3, you don't get sacks and turnovers. So you take Vaughn out, you take Chubb out, you take Fuller out. We've seen this. The best example was 2016 when they should have been in the playoffs, where that defense led the league in 3 and outs, and they still only won 9 games. So if they can't get to 24, 25 points a game, I don't want to hear about it. Because you're not a good team. You can't win in the NFL like they did in 2015. You can win in the playoffs with defense, but you can't get to the playoffs without scoring 24, 25 points a game right now.
Yeah, yep. It's an excellent point. And Troy, we don't want to keep you here until the Rockies game starts tonight, so we'll move on to the next one. Troy, is this an April Fool's joke? Brittany Bolin will be the controlling owner of the Broncos at this time next year.
April Fools. The family drama would prevent this. I just can't see, unless Brittany would go to the sisters and say, I'm going to write you a check for 800 million, 900 million. I mean, I don't know how that would work, but if they would have the liquid assets to turn a check like that, but
that's the problem.
Based on everything I know, that would be difficult to see the family in agreement over Brittany controlling their finances, because that person essentially would control their finances. And given the acrimony and animosity, I just don't see it. And things change when it comes down to the deadlines, but I don't see that happening. Zach.
Yeah, I think we're all right there with you. And we would all love to see it stay in the Bolin family, but it's got to the point where it does seem like a sale is inevitable.
I mean, it's so hard to imagine. They're like, okay, so here are your options. You lose this sweepstakes where you were trying to hope to be the owner, and you don't really get any money, but now you just lost. Or You make it really difficult. The team gets sold, and you get your share of $3 billion. Like, how do they end up choosing the I'll just take my L and fade away into the distance?
What was that last billion part again? Can you read that
again? All right, next one, Troy. April Fools with you can cook salmon in the dishwasher.
I'm not a salmon guy. I would say April Fools. That sounds disgusting. Unless you use Cascade with lemon, maybe a little bit of lemon. This is fruity here. Ask him. That just sounds disgusting.
Yeah, I'm a salmon guy. I'll have it baked, grilled, raw, smoked,
dishwashered.
I haven't tried dishwasher, nor do I want to.
Guys.
Ryan's telling us it's not April Fools.
It's not. This is real. And what's crazy is, back in my day when I was cooking dishwasher salmon, you had to use tinfoil. You had to really wrap it up in a lot of tinfoil so you don't get any water in there. But now they've got these vacuum seal packs, so you don't even have to worry about it. You vacuum seal it up, throw it in there, run a cycle, and you got yourself a perfectly flaky, not dry, steamed salmon.
Oh, I bet it's very wet. That's probably for sure. And, I love Troy's idea of using the lemon cascade in there. That's a great addition.
One of our listeners the other day sent me someone, this is next level. Someone did steak in the dishwasher.
Oh, wow. Wow, that better be a hot dishwasher.
But they did finish it. They finished it on a cast iron skillet.
Yeah, that helps. So they actually cooked it.
I thought he was going to say one of our listeners sent me some salmon in there. Isn't that from Trading Places where he's picking pieces of veal out of the Santa suit?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's great. All right, Troy, next one. Is it April Fools or is it April 2nd? Von Miller will be a Bronco in 2022.
Listen, I've been a ride or die guy with Von, so I will say perhaps foolishly that he will be a Bronco, that I'll take seriously, that he wants to retire here, that they're going to have a team that looks like it's finally turning the corner. So I'll say, knowing I'm probably wrong, that yes, he will be a Bronco in 2022.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, Mace, it's all you.
Well, strangely enough, we were talking about, of course, quarterback and do you trade up? I think if they traded up or if they somehow got Justin Fields, Troy, I think that could increase the chances that Von Miller is still with the team, because at that point you would have a young quarterback, cost-controlled, it's our drinking game here, cost-controlled quarterback where you could afford to say, we're going to pay you, Von, and we're also going to pay you, Bradley, and take care of both of you in turn, and that would fit in your team-wide cap equation.
Yeah, maybe that would spot. Again, Von called their bluff. He played this perfectly in terms of once his off-field issue got resolved, he wasn't really facing suspension. And then they went out and looked at Leonard Floyd and were like, holy heck, that's a lot of money for a guy that's not nearly as accomplished as our guy. So you give Von a 1 year, $18 million. But the flip side of that is they don't get a young quarterback and they move Von at the trading deadline.
Right.
Does he finish? I think another question would be, will he finish this season with the Broncos?
Yeah. It's a great question. It's something that I think fans believe will happen, but I think it's something that behind the scenes could be a little more shaky. I totally agree with you, Troy. All right, I think we got a couple more for you. Next one, April Fools. Speaking of finishing the season with the Broncos, will Vic Fangio finish the season with the Broncos? Will he coach in all 17 games this year?
I believe so. I don't know about after that, but I just George Payton doesn't strike me as a guy who would make a midseason change unless it just went off the rails, where they were getting beat by bad teams and you got fans back and they're getting booed off the field. The way to get fired in professional sports is play your worst games at home in front of your fans, and all of the decision makers are right there. And what could hurt Fangio is his starts have killed him. He hasn't been over 500 once in 2 years. But do I think he finishes the season? I do.
Yeah, and I think that's true. What we've seen from George so far, he hasn't made any moves with the coaching staff. He hasn't made moves in personnel. He's really taken this year to take a step back. So I totally agree with you. All right, Troy, we got three more. April Fools or not, with this one. The Rockies will lose 100 games this year. I guess it should probably be the Rockies will win 100 games this year, right?
Yeah. I still think they will lose 100 games, with all due respect to their great opener. And I say that because I think they're going to trade John Gray at the deadline. I think they're going to trade Michael Givens at the deadline. And then maybe Story. The problem is, as Mace knows, most playoff teams aren't looking for shortstops. I mean, That's not a pressing need, but there's a chance they could trade Story as well. So even though they do a bunch of great work and they're competitive, they could get to August 1st and then fall off a cliff because they don't have, 3 or 4 of their best players. They're all been moved in a trade. So I'm going to say they're going to lose 100 for the first time in franchise history.
Oh, no, my over 63.5 ticket is weeping right now.
All right, mate, or Troy, next one. Cortland Sutton will lead the team in receiving this year.
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, I've heard all great things about his recovery from knee surgery. He knows he's got a future contract on the line in terms of being a core guy and being a guy that they want to get on a second contract. Again, the thing that's different about Sutton is he's open when he's covered. He's a special player. Locke missed him more than anybody in terms of their team last year, with all due respect to the Von Miller injury. Cortland Sutton not being on the field, he was a security blanket for Locke. So I do believe he will, because I think Drew, when push comes to shove, or even whoever the quarterback is, we saw Sutton put up great numbers when he had, Flacco, Allen, and Locke. So I just think that unless there's some issue that develops with Cortland's knee, he's going to lead them in receiving.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any disagreement here. And final one, Troy. April Fools, the Broncos will make the playoffs in 2021.
April Fools. I do think they'll be better, but I think that could be high end for me right now would be 9-8. I just
so weird.
How do you? I'll pose it to you guys quick. How can you make the playoffs when you have the worst quarterback in your own division? How do you do that?
You can't.
And for me, there's one avenue. You would have to play defensively in a way that's special. That's how.
And it's a mediocre year overall, because the Bears just did that with Mitchell Trubisky in a division of Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford. And so last year, 8-8, they sneak in. That's what I think the playoffs likely look like, is you get 9-8. That's kind of, basically a half game up above 8-8. Obviously, it's a weak year overall. We're just, with 14 teams in the playoffs, we're going to see more of these types of teams make it. So that's where the path is.
Their schedule is way easier this year. So last year's schedule kind of bit them. If they get off to just an okay start, which has killed them the previous 2 seasons, the schedule sets up for 9 wins. If you look at it, it's just, we keep saying that, and then they lose. They have these mindlessly dumb losses. The opener last year, you lose at Atlanta. Like, they have these swing games. I say like baseball, where the count's 1-1, and every time it turns out to 1-2 for them. And instead of 2-1, and now here I am, I'm going to stress. They just, every time they get into a swing situation where they can change it, it seems to go the wrong way. But the schedule's set up for them to have a winning record.
Yeah, and it's a great point, Troy. And I shouldn't say that the Broncos can't make the playoffs, because as Mace pointed out, you can with the worst quarterback, but you can't make it with bad quarterback play. You have to have average quarterback play. And heck, Mahomes could be the best quarterback in the league. Herbert absolutely can be top 10. And maybe Derek Carr's 12. If you have Drew Lock or whoever your quarterback is right at 14 or 15 in terms of quarterback play, with this defense, you can make it. But it's really tough when you have the worst quarterback. You're absolutely right, Troy.
Well, Trubisky, to your point, he played out of his mind at the end of last season, and it was because the schedule set up for it. They played like nobody the last month of the season. He got hot. And then you watched him against the Saints, and you're like, how did this team get in the playoffs? They're terrible offensively. I mean, because that's when I tell people, like, when you look at the playoffs last year, who did the Broncos look like? The only team they even looked like were the Bears. Every other team offensively, you're like, that's a pretty good offense. The only team I saw, I don't know if you guys saw, in the playoffs last year that was terrible were the Bears.
Yeah. And it makes it so hard on the fans, because this is the golden age of offensive football in the NFL. And the Broncos are like worse than they've ever been on that side of the ball.
Yeah, they got the peach basket out trying to score backdoor layups. Everyone's shooting threes from Steph Curry from 35 feet.
I wanted to do a behind the scenes Troyism count on this pod, and I think we would have broke double digits on this. I absolutely love every Troyism.
I know. I got accused of scripting him out yesterday when I was on radio because I said that the Rockies bullpen, all that their goal is to not blow more saves than the Cast of Baywatch, and they said that I had scripted that, and I'm like, from where? Where would I script it? I'm an idiot. I just think of stupid stuff,
and it makes me laugh every time.
It's good stuff. All right, Troy. Well, we appreciate the time. We kept you a little long. But this was great. Thank you for all your insights, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in person. I was telling my wife this the other day, I miss the camaraderie of the press room. I enjoy it. I know some people put their headphones on. And I enjoy being around people. I enjoy the interaction, the ideas develop. You guys will say something. I'm like, man, I didn't think of that. Like, I love the creative friction and debates. And for me, that's part of the job I missed. I mean, a locker room to report, but I miss being around people. I love that part of the job because you guys are great and you bring a different view, a different energy that was missing in this market for how many decades. So I just miss it. I miss it. I missed it all last year. I'm tired of working from home.
Yeah. I think we all feel that way. All right, Troy. Appreciate the kind words and the time. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
There he is, Troy Renck. Another great guest.
Loved it.
Three Ring Circus. That was awesome.
It was, man. And just great to hear the perspective, although don't like him saying that the Broncos, he doesn't think they're in love with the quarterback. I don't think he's wrong by saying that at all. It's just, it's not what we want to hear right now with trying to get even more excitement. Because guys, we're a quarterback away from this team going from 5-11 to not just will they make the playoffs, but how competitive are they going to be in the playoffs? And we talk about, average quarterback play, getting the 15th best quarterback play. That's a playoff team with this team in my mind. But what if they get the 8th best quarterback play in the league, which isn't crazy to say that Drew could take that jump or that a rookie could come in here and have the 8th best quarterback play. We've seen rookies come in and light it up the past few years. And I'm not even saying number 1, but 8 guys. How exciting would that be? Broncos country is standing on the ledge right now, ready to explode into the moon if they get good quarterback play.
It's true. And it's a tough position for George Paton to be in, I think. Because desperation does not often lead to good things, whether this is when you're searching for a quarterback or if you're searching for a girlfriend. Like, the more you want it, the more your head gets messed up, and the more you start forgetting what you're actually really looking for. And so, I think it's George Paton's first big test as, can you really run an organization? Because it's just so easy. I mean, every fan is doing this right now, where they're looking at Justin Fields, they're looking at Trey Lance, and all they can see is Drew Lock throwing an interception off of his back foot, and then they look at Justin Fields throwing a 60-yard touchdown pass, and they're like, that's better. It's got to be better. It's definitely better. We got to go get it. And I completely understand why everyone feels that way. But as the the man in charge of making these decisions, you have to have a really clear mind and not be thinking about what if he's good. It's, is he good? And is he going to be good? Because what ifs from that position at the quarterback position, if you're wrong and you just went because you really wanted something new, you can set the franchise back 3-4 years. That's most of your contract.
Yeah, you don't want desperation, but sometimes you do need to have urgency. And urgency is something you think about when you look at your draft situation now, what you expect it to be in the future, because if this defense is what you expect it to be and you get, say, average quarterback play, I mean, even if you finish, say, 8-9 or 7-10, you're picking potentially 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, somewhere in there. And you're at 9 right now in what they would call in Top Gun a target-rich environment when it comes to the quarterback position. So you may have to think in terms of saying, this is my best shot to get that guy, because doing so from, say, pick 19, if we eke out a 9-8 season and do what the Bears did last year and get in and are quickly dispatched in the playoffs, if you do that, then it becomes a little bit more of a long shot. And frankly, I mean, the landscape has changed so much, guys, regarding the quarterback position that, Josh Allen fell to 7 and Buffalo was able to go from 21 to 16 to 7 with a couple of trades back in 2018. A Josh Allen caliber prospect might go 3 or 4. You might have to go even higher than you would have had in a similar situation just 3 years ago. So the moment to strike may be right now.
Yeah, you're right. And I hope we're saying in a month from now, Mace, that the landscape has changed here in Denver because Trey landed. And Ryan, you said something that really, really hit home to me. You said, could be like a girlfriend. You can't be desperate. It takes me back to my high school days. All I wanted those first 3 years was, that long-term girlfriend in high school. Had some flings here and there, but never the long-term thing. Senior year, I'm like, nope, I'm just going to college next year. You know what? I'm dropping it. And then boom. Once the desperation went away, found that long-term girlfriend. And so, maybe that's the Broncos just sitting back at 9 and Justin Fields falls into their lap or Mac Jones falls into their lap and they strike love for the next 2 decades.
Yeah, it's exactly. The less you're looking, the more love finds you.
The less creepy you are. Because let's be honest, high school boys, when they're desperate.
Exactly. All right. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'd love if you hit us with a like. You can subscribe to our channel. You can get signed up. If you've noticed, this is a new channel. So if you were subscribed to the old channel, we recommend that you sign up for this one. We are dealing with some issues with YouTube over some BS, to be quite frank. So we don't know when we're going to have our other channel back. So if you were subscribed to our old channel, make sure you're subscribing to this one too. All of the same content. Everything's the same. We're just working on getting the other one back right now. Aside from that, if you love this show, we also love if you became a member at DNVR. There's so many perks of being a DNVR member. Zach has been telling everyone, I don't want birthday presents. I just want you to become a member at DNVR.
Nailed it.
And when you sign up, you get a free shirt. If you haven't seen our shirts, go to DNVRLocker.com and see everything we have to offer there. We've got a ton of designs. Someone the other day told me they have over 40 DNVR shirts, and I was like, we have over 40
Whoa.
DNVR shirts? So there's so many cool ones over there, whether you want a team-themed one or, a DNVR-themed one. There's Broncos ones there. The Von Goat people have been really liking lately. We'll have some new Broncos stuff coming soon. You can get all in on all of this. The hoodies are a hit. So all of that stuff over at the DNVRLocker.com. Of course, when you sign up, you get to read all of our content. And maybe the best part, you can have your comments read on our podcast every single day. So you get a direct line to us to get our insights on whatever you may be thinking about that day. There's so much more at thednvr.com. So check it out and consider becoming a member.
And guys, a great birthday present is saving almost $1,000 a year. And our friends over at Gabby Insurance are helping me do that today. All you have to do to save literally $961. That's the average amount that a person that goes to Gabby saves per year on insurance. All you have to do is go to Gabby.com/DNVR. That's GABI.com/DNVR. Takes 5 minutes to enter very basic information about your insurance now and what you're looking for, and boom, they search over 40 of the top insurance company providers like Progressive, Nationwide, Travelers to find you the best rates, and it takes 5 minutes to do. So if you want to save hundreds of dollars, you can do that right now, and you'll be done in just 10 minutes while still listening to us right now. Hit up Gabby.com/DNVR. That's GABI.com/DNVR to save nearly $1,000 on your insurance per year. And they won't ever sell your information. So it's no risk, all reward for you over at Gabby.com/DNVR.
Want to tell you all about Breckenridge Brewery as well. Of course, it's not just beers, it's seltzers. They've got their seltzer line. The Good Company Hard Seltzer comes in a 15-pack. They've got apple, pear, cherry, peach, berry, and honeydew. So go on over to the Breck Beer Locator and find out where that closest 15-pack of seltzers is to you and pick them all up. If you're in the Denver area, also check out the Farmhouse. That's their restaurant down at their brewery in Littleton. It's right off Santa Fe. It's a great place. It's got outstanding pub food that's taken to another level. And you can get $5 off your meal by using that magical code DNVR. So call 303-803 $13.80 from noon to 8 p.m. for pickup. They'll bring you your food, and you also, if you want some beer, they'll take care of you that way. You've got the full array of Breck beers, of course, located right there at the farmhouse. So check that out. Wherever you go in the country, though, you may not be able to get all the Breck beers, but if you want to find out where to get that taste of Colorado, check out the Breck Beer Locator on their website. I was able to find a place that has some Breck beers about 5 miles from where I'm sitting right now in Florida. I'm going to head on over while I'm out for lunch and stop and get a little to enjoy a nice Florida night, a little Colorado core, a little strawberry sky. Last week at my house, I had some in-laws over, and they said, hey, we'd like some IPA. I didn't have any, so I went to the store, got some Hot Peak IPA, and those things were a hit with my in-laws from Wisconsin. So check out all the offerings from Breckenridge Brewery at the website, and go to the locator and find out where to get some of those delicious Breck beers and those delicious Good Company hard seltzers. Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR.
Love it. Love it. I can't wait to have a Breck brew today. I'm going to the Rockies game. I'm going to have a Breck brew. Oh, it's going to be a hell of a day. We're actually on time today, so we're doing the show in the correct order.
Hey.
So let's jump in now to our next segment here. Last week, we did the great quarterback draft of 2021. This week, we're doing the non-quarterbacks in this draft. Gonna see who can put together the best team of non-quarterbacks available in this draft. I'm excited for this one, guys. It's actually a good board other than the quarterback board, which dropped off drastically after number 5. Zach, I think you won that one.
I did. It's my first one. It was an early birthday present. Just dominated by throwing a curveball in there with Justin Fields.
So lame that you did that, but I respect it. Whatever it takes to win.
Exactly. All about the dub.
All right, let's jump in here. Is it my turn to go first? I think it's my turn to go first.
I think Mace is 2 and I'm 3.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That sounds great. All right, I will go
First pick is interesting here. I'm curious to see which way you go.
Never hesitated. First pick in the 2021 non-quarterback draft, tight end out of Florida, Kyle Pitts. I believe he is the single best football player in this draft.
Man, outside of court or with quarterbacks too?
I just mean like football player.
So would you take him if you were Atlanta?
Yeah, of course.
Or how about this? I have some friends that are 49ers fans, and I sparked some fear in their hearts by saying maybe the 49ers just really wanted George Kittle and Kyle Pitts combo. I mean, that would be insanely deadly, but obviously you don't do that for a tight end.
3 first-round picks for a tight end would be risky. So to me, I mean, this guy's an absolute freak. You can use him in so many different ways. And, like I've been talking about, like we just talked about, Troy, this is the golden age of offensive football in the NFL. And the way that you make it work, the way that you make all this happen is by creating mismatches. Whether that's, Tyreek Hill's speed as a mismatch, whatever it is. For Kyle Pitts, it's a mix of speed, size, strength, athleticism that is unmatched, and there's just going to be no one out there who can match those things. He's a mismatch no matter who you put on him. To me, this is a no-brainer.
And you know what's so great about him is a lot of people, when you say, tight end Kyle Pitts, they say, no, he's a wide receiver. Well, for some tight ends, that's true because they're 6'3 and a half, 230, and you're like, okay, he really is just a big wide receiver. Kyle Pitts, 6'6", 245. I mean, he truly can be a wide receiver on the outside, but he's also a guy that you can just dominate with at tight end as well, and you get those matchups.
All right, Mace, your pick.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts is the lock, stock, and barrel number 1. And then right after that is Penei Sewell, the tackle out of Oregon. I mean, this guy, 325 pounds, incredibly skilled, incredibly good footwork. And the thing is, he's still growing. He's still kind of growing into what he can be. He doesn't even turn 21, guys, until October of this year. The upside on Sewell is massive. And with all respect to Rashawn Slater, who's getting some buzz as we build through this pre-draft process. Of course, Slater, the tackle out of Northwestern. Sewell, like Pitts, is the guy on the offensive line who can be considered a potential generational tackle. That if everything falls into place for him, he could be the dominant tackle of the 2020s. And he's a converted guard, so if by chance he doesn't work out tackle, he, I think, could step in and be an outstanding player on the interior line at guard as well. The bust potential for Penei Sewell is exceptionally low. The boom potential for him is literally being the best tackle in the game for this decade. It's an easy call for the second guy for me for Sewell.
So you're so high on him that you actually think bust potential is referring to whether he's going to have a bust in Canton.
Maybe. I mean, he's not quite the sure thing on the offensive line that Quentin Nelson was. And I think you go back to the 2018 draft and some of the same things that we say about Kyle Pitts kind of or said about Quentin Nelson apply to Kyle Pitts, but Sewell kind of locks in there, kind of just a half step below those guys in terms of having a very high floor, but also having a high ceiling.
Guys, you just left me with the perfect pick. Thank you both so much because I get to roll with my tide on this one. Give me Heisman winner, Mr. Dynamic, Devontae Smith right here. I absolutely love it. He's absolutely so dynamic. Yes, he's 170 pounds, but that didn't matter in the SEC. He is a playmaker like no other. Give me Devontae Smith on my offense with the 3rd overall pick.
Wow, I think that some people will accuse you of reaching here.
Okay, well, who should it be then?
Well, I mean, you've got another pick, so I'm not going to say anything.
I do have another pick, and, really a toss-up between these 3 wide receivers, in my opinion, between Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Smith. But, of course, I have to give the nod to my Alabama friend with the 3rd pick. And with the 4th pick here, guys, I'm going to go with a guy who a lot of people think is the number 1 wide receiver in this draft, and that's unfortunately going with the Tigers, going with LSU, but going with Jamar Chase. He's incredible. It's a shame we didn't get to see what he could do last year, but I understand the reasons that he opted out for COVID. But guys, he is such a good wide receiver. So now on my board, guys, I got the top 2 wide receivers, one on the left, one on the right, both in the slot, wherever you want to put them, maybe a little bit in the backfield. But Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase, holy cow, I love the way this draft is started.
Fair enough.
Well, that's it's kind of obvious because you've got 3 receivers in the top 10. 2 of them are gone. You're happy with any of them. So Jalen Waddle is going to be the guy at my pick here in the 2nd round. I was secretly hoping, Zach, that you would go all Crimson Tide and go Devontae Smith, Waddle. And so I'd be a little happier with Chase. I mean, Chase to me is wide receiver 1 in this class. You just kind of go back to where we thought this wide receiver class was about 10 months ago, before we had opt-outs, before we had the 2020 season, et cetera. And Jamar Chase was the one, and I think there's good reason why he's still the best. But Waddle is going to be an outstanding player. He and Devontae Smith will both continue the tradition of very good Alabama first-round receivers going into the NFL. So Waddle, you can't really go wrong with him.
So guys, an interesting thing has happened here.
All offense?
Exactly. There's 10 picks in the top 10, obviously, and everyone's talking about 5 quarterbacks, right? 5 quarterbacks could go in the top 10. Now we've picked 5 other players. They're all offense.
Yep.
Could we see an all offense top 10 of the draft?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so, who would the Broncos pick be then? A trade back?
If it's a trade back, then you have to imagine the trade up is for a quarterback.
So right, exactly. That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So that gets you the 5th.
Or if what Troy is saying, if they stay there and let's say it's not a quarterback, please don't let that be the case. But it could be Penei Sewell. Troy said, how can you pass on Justin Fields or Sewell if he's there? I could see that because of just how much uncertainty there is at right tackle right now. And let's say there is certainty at right tackle for this year. It's only for 1 year. You can move on from Juwan James after this year, and it's only $6 million dead next year.
Yep. Zach, you said something the other day that I actually disagree with. And this goes into this this list that we have right here. You said the one position the Broncos can't draft is wide receiver. I disagree. I think you can.
Oh my goodness! And then who are you moving? You can't just draft him and then keep everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you could move someone, or you could just say like it's the golden age of offensive football in the NFL, and we are tripling down on making sure that we have all the weapons to win.
So who's not going to be on the field though? Because then you'd have
like
Jerry
KJ
Jeudy.
Hamler.
Okay, so you're just saying that your second round pick last year is done,
and you're saying Tim Patrick's a Green Bay Packer.
Sure,
trading.
I mean, I mean, like if you can line up Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Devontae Smith, no one's complaining.
Hey, you don't have to twist my arm for that to happen. Certainly not. That would just I just don't see there's any way of that happening. I mean, in my article that I wrote that you're referencing, Ryan, is I said the Broncos can take one of these top 3 guys if they fall to the second round. And obviously we know that that's not going to happen. I mean, we don't even think that there's a chance that these guys don't even last to the 11th pick in this draft.
Like I said, draft the best player available or you are going to get yourself in trouble. All right. And
so who's the best player available now? Speaking
of the best player available, I think I just have to go with the first defensive player off the board here. And I'm playing to the crowd a little bit here because I see this guy's name come up every day. I'm not 100% sold on him for the Broncos at this pick or at pick 9, but I'm going to go with Micah Parsons here, the linebacker out of Penn State. He is an athletic freak. And I think if used in the right way, he's going to be a big-time player in the NFL. There's definitely some concerns all over the place. But like I said, I just see all these people talking about how much they love him, so I'll give them what they want.
You sound just like me last week, Ryan. You're just playing to the crowd, so I respect that, actually.
Thank you.
And I mean, you're on the clock again, is that right?
Yeah, there are just as many people in the crowd. They're going to say, "Oh no, I wouldn't want to bring that guy in the locker room." And I imagine with Parsons, I would suspect there are a decent amount of teams that probably just do not have Micah Parsons on their board because of character concerns.
Yeah,
I'm sure, and that's absolutely understandable.
Yeah.
All right, we're going back-to-back picks here. And I'm going to pick another guy that I think people really like. And I like this guy as well. He's got the bloodlines, which I think are always important in these types of things. And he, I think, is going to be one of the guys that comes in and plays right away. So next pick, I will take Patrick Surtain, cornerback out of Alabama.
Roll Tide, baby. I love it. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, you're exactly right. One of the last thing you said about him was he's a guy that's going to come in and play right away and be an absolute stud. That's just why the Todd McShay draft, with the Broncos sticking at 9 and picking Patrick Surtain doesn't make sense because unfortunately he's not taking anyone off the field. If you're going to get a cornerback in the first round, I mean, of course it'd be great to get Patrick Surtain, but it makes sense to trade back and pass on Patrick Surtain at 9 to be able to get a Caleb Farley, kind of more of a developmental guy. I mean, he's not really a true developmental guy, but with the injury and stuff, he can sit a little bit. You don't want Patrick Surtain, who can hit the ground running, just having to sit his entire rookie year.
Yeah, and Farley in particular is a guy who may fit what the Broncos want to do slightly better than Surtain. He's got the versatility. Shoot, you could even project him out as a safety if you find that that's where your vacancy is going to be. There will be ways to get Caleb Farley on the field, I'd say probably within a few weeks of the start of the regular season. So he has a chance to get healthy from that back surgery. And so I like Farley's upside just a little bit more than Surtain's. So Farley is my pick right there in round 3. But you can't. I don't think you can go wrong with either guy. I think they're both studs and they're both going to be outstanding players. But Farley, you look around, you can put him on the boundary, you can put him at slot, you can even put him at safety. There's going to be a spot because someone's going to get hurt. There's going to be a spot for Caleb Farley somewhere if the Broncos do add him to that secondary room. And so it may not be in week 1, but I think he gets on the field pretty quickly.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And something else I love is the way that this board is falling. I'm going to go roll tide again, baby. Give me Najee Harris. Get the first running back off the board here. Another Alabama player, an absolute stud running back. Gives me vibes of Derrick Henry with the size, the speed, the vision, the ball carrying ability. And also, I think the exact word Mace used yesterday to talk about him was exceptional pass catcher. Just brings something to the passing game as well. So you get an absolute stud running back who's just a workhorse that you need. And again, I love the way this board's fallen. And you guys gave me an opportunity to get one of the top 3 cornerbacks. I know the top 2 are gone, but how much of a drop-off is there with J.C. Horn between these other few guys? It seems like, there's 3 top wide receivers in this draft. There's 3 top cornerbacks in this draft. And so I'm going to get the next cornerback and go J.C. Horn with my next pick. So finally, I add on defense a little bit. J.C. Horn, an incredible athlete who can also play.
Yeah, I'm really, really, really intrigued by J.C. Horn. I think that it's absolutely a possibility that he's the best corner of this group. He's an athletic freak. He also has the pedigree coming from. He's of course the son of Joe Horn. So, man, I really like him. And if he somehow ended up a Bronco, I would love that too.
Now, let me ask you this: parameters of this draft, is this for the Broncos, or this is just in general?
This is just our guys.
Okay. All right. Then it's an easy call for me because even though I've already gone tackle, Rashawn Slater's still on the board out of Northwestern. So I don't know that he even lasts this long. There are potentially at least a couple of teams that are going to have Rashawn Slater graded higher than Penei Sewell on their board. Like I said, I think Sewell is a generational tackle potentially, but Rashawn Slater, I think, is somebody who's going to have a very long, very successful career. All the tools, highly intelligent as well, which is something you want your offensive lineman to be, other than quarterback, the smartest position group on your team. Slater fits that to a T. Give me Rashawn Slater in the 4th round.
Love it. And then I go back to back here to finish my draft.
You do, yes.
All right, great. Here, just because I think he's lasted on the board too long. He's an athletic freak. He's pretty awesome. I'm going to take Gregory Rousseau.
Yeah.
Potentially the best edge rusher in this class.
I got to say, great Madden player. He's on my team. So freaking good.
Wow, if he's good on your team.
Watch yourself. No, I think when I play against people and they're like, who is this edge guy? They're always a little more surprised just because I have someone good on defense. So I think you're exactly right, Ryan.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. He's huge. He's athletic. He's long. He's rangy. He's everything that, builds a great edge rusher. And to finish here, I'm going to take another fan favorite and a favorite of mine.
No.
At linebacker.
No.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, JOK. If he didn't come to Denver, he would be known as the Joker, but he can't have that here.
You can't have 2 Jokers in town?
You come on! Think of the poster possibilities, and you get the 2 Jokers together. I mean, this is a marketing dream that you have 2 guys that you can call Joker who play for different teams in the same market. I mean, this is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
The Joker's wild. I mean, the Jokers are wild, basically, that kind of thing. I mean, you know what? You just start thinking about things, the possibilities. If you have 2 guys you can call Joker in the same town are endless.
Allie's asking me how she's going to fit that in there. Just put JOK.
We'll know. Yes.
Yes.
All right, Mace, who is your last pick? By the way, Ryan, I think that's a great 5th round pick.
Thank you.
Yeah. A guy that a lot of people think is the best safety on the board, and that's Trayvon Moehrig out of TCU. And, and if we were going deeper, like in terms of value for the pick, I like Richie Grant in the real second round, a little bit more value wise. But when we're talking on here, Trayvon Moehrig is everybody's safety one for a very good reason. He's I think he will not last out of the first round. He's somebody who I believe will be on the Broncos' radar if they trade down in round 1. Even though there's not a spot for him to start this year, Kareem Jackson on a 1-year deal, and then Justin Simmons on a huge contract, you do want to have a little bit of cost control at the safety position going forward. And Morgan be on a rookie contract for 4 years. Easy call here.
Yeah, I like it.
For some reason, whenever I was just going to say, whenever I hear the name Morig, I can't help but think about Moritz Boringer, who is not a high level safety. He is a he was a tight end prospect.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
Very random.
Is he back? He's back in Germany now, right?
Maybe.
Oh wait, hang on here. He was
He's still available as a free agent in Madden.
Yeah, he was last with the Bengals last summer. They cut him right before the start of camp, and he hasn't really been heard from since.
All right, finish us off, Zach.
And guys, I think this is a great exercise, and happy we did 5 rounds here, because I think right before Mace's pick, you're getting really, really good players there. And I think Trayvon Morig can be a good player as well, but just not as certain to me, especially in this questionable safety class. But I think this shows that we're not even including the quarterbacks. And what do we get? We get over, we got about 14 really good players on the board here. So that's good news if the Broncos want to trade back, because you throw in 5 more quarterbacks. Broncos can pick at 19 and still get a very, very good player here. And Allie just deleted Zach 5, but I was going to say, might as well just keep Zach on my team to round out my team. But if I do that, I'll probably lose. So I'll go with the potential dangerous defensive lineman. I'll go Kwity Paye from Michigan. This is a guy that has shown elite talent. He's shown that he can be a top 10 talent at times. And this is a guy who, under Vic Fangio, I think he could develop very, very nicely and just be very explosive. So I'm going to go Kwity Paye to round out my team, get myself a big boy up front.
I think you're going to pay for that.
Oh, I see what you did there.
All right, this was good. I like this. This is a good board. Like you said, Zach, this is kind of encouraging for the Broncos. If they want to trade back a few picks, pick up an extra pick, there's still going to be a lot of good players on the board. And that's all because of those 5 quarterbacks that are going to go.
Exactly. And I wouldn't love Kwity Paye if they're doing that, if they trade back and get him or Trayvon. But any other guy, if they're able to get a first-round pick and get one of these guys, come on, you've got to be kidding me. That would be hard to pass up. And especially if you're not passing up on Justin Fields at 9, you're passing up on, Patrick Surtain at 9 to move back.
I just wish that Paye was a little more productive in terms of finishing as a pass rusher. I mean, if we're talking about somebody as a mid-first round edge rusher, 8.5 sacks in 16 games over the last 2 years. That's a little less than I'd like.
All right, we have to quickly pivot into the red zone here because my guy Brian says he has to go to work soon.
Okay.
Which, wow. I mean, geez, just coming in here telling us what time to come on. But no, I'm just kidding. We're bringing on our guy Brian into the red zone. Brian.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Brian, what's up?
What's
nice
up, legend, Zach?
Shirt.
Oh, well, this is more than a shirt, Mace. This is a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's so good. Brian, of course, a fixture in the Madden League, notable runner-up last season or 2 seasons ago.
4 seasons.
Multiple-time runner-up. But we're happy to have you on, dude. And let's give him a chance here in the red zone. I kind of wanted to switch things up today and have me go first. Just because I wanted a shot at you, but I think you can get Zach. So,
wow!
I don't know, man. I'm kind of reeling. Adam knocked me around last night in the league, so a little emotionally fragile.
Brian, you should feel really bad if you beat me, though. Beating me on my birthday is not really fair.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Zach!
Thank you. No, but I wish you well because I have some good questions for this next round if we can get to it. So good luck and take me down.
Well, all right. Tariq Cohen based, I think I'll be fine.
All right. Question the first. Who was the only Bronco to catch a pass from Kendall Hinton?
Oh.
Tim Patrick?
Jerry Jeudy.
Melvin
No.
Gordon.
Oh my
Royce
goodness.
Freeman?
KJ Hamler. Noah Fant.
Yes.
Ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Wow. I like the rapid fire, Brian, back and forth.
And so is this like Mad Max rules where if you just think it, you say it?
I think so.
I guess so.
All right, next question. Who was the Broncos starting quarterback the last time they had a 3-game winning streak?
Oh, mama.
Trevor Simeon.
No,
I
Case
knew you were
Keenum.
going to guess that. Case Keenum, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Got it.
Because-
When
Of
they got it
course.
back to, did they get it back to 6-6?
They
yeah, we
did.
had like hope for
Yeah.
like a week.
And
Yeah.
then they decide not to cover George Kittle, and
Yeah.
that was the end of that chapter.
Ooh, baby, we've got a rubber match.
Good
All
luck,
right.
Brian.
Okay. Among quarterbacks to start at least one game for the Broncos in the last 5 seasons, just one of them finished with an ESPN QBR above 51.0 for any one season. Who was that quarterback?
Oh,
Drew
that
Lock.
Lane dude. No. It was
He knows. I'll give it to him.
he played. Then we lost to the Vikings the next week with him. I forget his name.
Are you saying rephrase the question again, Mace?
What it is?
You're thinking of Brandon Allen, though.
I am
Yes.
thinking of Brandon Allen.
Yeah, it's not
That-
Brandon Allen.
Oh,
But the key thing, they started at least one game
And finished a season.
No.
and finished that season with a QBR of over 51.
Oh, Brock Osweiler in 2000.
Nope.
No, not Brock.
No.
Okay.
What's the name of the
Joe Flacco.
Our QB3 right now on our team. What's his name? That fucking
Brett
running back?
Rippon.
Brett
No,
Rippon.
Yes.
Oh, it is
Rippon.
Brett Rippon.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, does
Wow.
that get it?
Yeah, no, Brian, I think you got it. I gave you the name, but
Yeah.
but we'll give it to you to move on.
Okay.
Congratulations, Brian.
57.9 is 57.9 is that magic rating. I mean,
Wow, I didn't think he had
That makes me sad.
very good stats.
he was considered to have a good game against the Jets by QBR. I think the
Oh,
Jets game he was at 66 or right around there.
big
QBR
thanks
didn't
to Jerry
mind that he
Jeudy.
tried to throw away like a 21-point lead.
Basically, yeah.
Right. And Jerry Jeudy snagged one for a touchdown.
Judy bailed him
Sorry
out.
about forgetting the names. My extracurricular activities, short-term memory, kind of.
We'll give it to you. And congratulations, you took down Zach. All right, Brian, let's go to Ryan. And I will be asking these questions. And Brian, best of luck. I hope you take him
Right,
down.
and this is a plumber era football, right?
Yes, this is 2000 till now. We'll really focus on kind of 10 plus years from now. And these questions are gonna be focused in free agency. So here they go. In Mike Shanahan's final free agency in 2008, he signed a brother of a Bronco that was on the team. Who
Boss
was it?
Bailey.
Boom.
Boss Bailey. Yeah.
Bingo. Impressive. Now, just a fun
I'm
fact
nervous.
here. A fun fact here. Boss Bailey's contract, he was only on the team 1 year. It was a 5-year, $17.5 million contract. So they really had high hopes for him. And
Yeah.
his name was the best thing that happened for the Broncos. All right. Up 1-0. Put him away, Brian. Here we go.
I'm scared.
In his first free agency, leading the Broncos in 2009, so the following year from this past question, Josh McDaniels made a huge splash in free agency. Who did he sign?
Kyle Orton, Brendan Lloyd.
Nope.
Huge splash in free agency.
Did we get a position?
Is it Brian Dawkins?
Boom. Ding, 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 ding. And guys, to put that in perspective, Brian Dawkins' contract, 5 years, $17 million. So Boss Bailey got a bigger contract than future Hall of Famer Brian Dawkins 1 year
Wow.
later. So, all right, we are all tied up. I absolutely love this, guys. Final one here. In the same free agency, Josh McDaniels also signed another member of the secondary who would go on to be a coach of the Broncos. Who did he sign?
Ronaldo Hill?
Boom. You got it.
I wasn't going to guess that.
Nice.
Impressive there, Ryan. And of course, he was the defensive backs coach.
Ah, yes, of course. We're going to give you a bonus question to see if you can move on to the mace round. This is unopposed, so you just got to answer it yourself. If you get it right, you get to advance another round. Okay, here it is. Which Bronco holds the record for most receptions in a game, and how many receptions was it?
Isn't that Brandon Marshall 21?
Ooh, he got it.
Nice.
Hey, let's go, Brian.
Thank you.
Let's go. The lifeline keeps him alive. All right. Now you're in trouble. But you get to go up against Mace.
Be kind. Mace, be kind.
Round three, Brian. Let's go.
Oh, boy.
The second ever to enter round 3. Really impressive showing here from Brian.
Might be a little out of practice here, so we'll see.
Okay. Who was the first ever first round pick of the Denver Broncos?
I'm just gonna say Melvin Gordon sucks. I don't got an answer for y'all.
Now, we're not talking about the common draft. We're talking about 1960, right?
We sure are.
Okay, yeah. I'm drawing a blank here. I don't know.
Wow, you stumped him, Ryan.
I got to make these a little easier, I think. His name was Bob Gators.
Okay.
Bob Gators.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
Okay. 14 times in NFL history, a player has gotten 4 interceptions. 3 of those 14 are Broncos. Name 2.
Deltha O'Neal, Willie Brown.
All right,
Yeah,
there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, Deltha O'Neal's the one that everyone knows. All right. The last one here. And if one of you doesn't get it, I'm not going to know what to do because I don't have another question prepared.
I've got some up my sleeve.
All right. We can go to Zach. Okay. Who holds the Denver Broncos record for rushing yards in a game?
Clinton Portis?
It's not Clinton Portis.
Denver Broncos record rushing yards in a game. Otis Armstrong.
It's not Otis Armstrong. Who did you say, Brian?
I was just asking, can you give us a timeline or?
Yes, it's early 2000s.
Mike Anderson?
Yes, it is Mike Anderson. But that was
I think Brian got it.
No, he didn't.
Oh, I did. I'm running 1 gig internet, Mace. You are not.
I know I had that out before I heard it. Sorry.
We'll check the tapes, but I think he gets it.
Ty goes to the challenger. Boo!
Replay.
Right.
I'm throwing the red flag on that one if you're giving it to him.
We'll review it in the offseason.
Yeah.
So are we tied? Is this the final one?
This is the final one for a lifetime membership to DNVR.
Oh, big question.
Yeah, maybe we need to get replay on this pretty quick.
For 3,000 Dogecoin.
Ryan, do you want me to dial this one up?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think I was going to need 4 today.
So
or 5. I had 4.
You did, yeah. So we'll stick with the 2000.
I have another one.
Oh, it's all you.
Okay. So you guys named 2 of the 3 to get 4 interceptions. Who is the 3rd Bronco to get 4 interceptions in a game?
Goose Gonsolin.
That is correct.
That
is correct.
Impressive.
I have to interject here because I looked back at the tapes right now. I can pull it up. It was said at the exact same time.
Wow. Ty goes to the challenger.
To show you guys.
You
already
It was
have
at
it
the
clipped.
exact same time.
Impressive.
No, yeah, here.
All right, let's see it. See the replay. The suspense is killing him.
It is.
Here it is. Here it comes.
Otis Armstrong.
It's not Otis Armstrong. Who did you say, Brian?
I was just asking, can you give us a timeline or?
Yes. It's early 2000s.
Mike Anderson?
Yeah.
I think That was
That's as close as it possibly could get. But Mace did take care of business.
That he did, as he always does.
And saved our business.
Yeah, he saved it. We were going to have to liquidate assets to get Brian all that Dogecoin. But Brian, the best performance of anyone ever.
Yes.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you.
Impressive.
Very impressive. Yeah.
Now be nice to me in Madden, okay?
I don't know, Zach. You got that future Hall of Fame quarterback that you drafted.
That's what I'm talking about.
Dude,
Let's go,
in
Zach
the preseason.
Yeah, he did 3 for 5, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
All right, Brian. Have a great day, and thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, thank you for having me, guys.
There
Man.
he was. Wow, what a performance!
You're sweating. Thanks, Mace, for holding the business together.
It's what I'm doing, just
Saving-
I'm the load-bearing wall in this operation. So
our Justin Simmons, our last man in the back end. Well, that was awesome.
That was fun.
I like when someone gives us a little challenge, gives us a little scare.
Yeah, I do too. Whew, man, that was fun.
That was fun. All right. Before we get out of here, we skipped a couple ads, so we got to circle back and give a shout out to a couple of these. The Colorado XOs, which is a really cool thing they've got going on. They are taking athletes from different sports all over the world, and maybe they played professional baseball, maybe they played college football, and they want to try their hand at rugby. And what they're doing is they're bringing them down to Rugby Town, USA, Glendale, Colorado, at the Colorado XOs training facility. And they're teaching these guys rugby, and they're saying, hey, maybe if we take these really great athletes from other sports, teach them the game, we can get them onto the U.S. national rugby team and really help the U.S. national team. So check them out, the Colorado XOs. We've got someone covering them. It's Colton Strickler. He does his pod, but really, really cool thing going on there. So make sure you check out our DNVR rugby coverage and check out the Colorado XOs.
And speaking of cool things that we've got going on, our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook have an awesome thing going on for the final couple rounds of the tournament. If you bet on one team to win any of the final 3 remaining games in this tournament, and that team wins, you win $100. And not to spoil anything, but guys, this Gonzaga team it may be the biggest favorite going into the Final Four that we've ever seen. They're plus 14 points over minus 14 points over UCLA right now. If you bet on UCLA to win money line, it's plus 980. As Ryan knows, that's unheard of for what's supposed to be a Final Four game right now. So what Vegas is telling you is bet that $1 on Gonzaga, and then you'll turn $1 into $100 if they win. That's what the odds say, at least, and you can get in on that if you're a new user over at DraftKings Sportsbook. So head to the App Store now, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 if the basketball team of your choice pulls off the win. Gonzaga. That's code DNVR to turn $1 into $100 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, new customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Golly, I hope Gonzaga pulls it off, and I hope everyone's a winner because they've as a program, they paid their dues. I like Houston, love the defensive intensity they play with. UCLA has enough titles, and Baylor as a university ought to be fired into the sun.
Yes. Great take. Gonzaga is America's team. It's just like they're too good to I'm not rooting against them, but they're just so good that it's like hard to want them to win. It's just like they're just like a machine.
What scares me is the Kentucky team, the last team that was undefeated going into the Final Four and then who ended up making the championship. That's what scares me is just, are they too good to win almost? Just like that undefeated Kentucky team ended up losing the very final game and got that one loss. That's what scares me.
Yeah, I mean, they have 6 NBA players on their team.
And Drew Timmy, baby.
Yeah, I want you to grow that mustache. I think that would be a good look for you, Steve.
Well, you know how I was telling you about that wonderful girlfriend I found. I don't know if she would be okay with that.
I mean, come on, let the guy live.
You know what? Oh man, if Drew Timmy becomes a Nugget, how about that?
You know, Maybe.
Do the Nuggets have any picks left?
They don't need picks.
Yeah.
It's true. You don't need picks when you got championships, right?
I mean, you don't need picks when you have like the best starting 5 in the NBA.
That's true. When you got the MVP, baby, JOK.
Are we counting the days to the Nets Nuggets final, the reunion of old ABA rivals right there in the NBA finals? Is that where we're headed with this?
I personally am.
And we're also headed to a Rockies Yankees World Series, Rockies Red Sox.
No, Yankees lost yesterday. It'd be all about the Blue Jays, baby.
162 for the Yankees. 162-0 for the Rockies.
And DJ LeMahieu went 0 for 4. I mean, David, Dahl had a good game. Arenado had a good game, but DJ came up short if we're monitoring ex-Rockies and their new destinations.
Good day for Jeff Bridich.
Please refer to him as his proper name, Josh Fuentes' cousin.
Also got to tell you about Zoom Care, our friends over at zoomcare.com. Think about the last time you needed to see a doctor. How long were you waiting for answers? Did you sit there and wait weeks for an appointment? Then when you got to the appointment, they said it was going to be at 2 and you don't walk in until 3:15. That's happened to all of us. Well, what if you didn't have to wait? What if you didn't have to wait weeks to get that appointment? What if you weren't sitting around twiddling your thumbs, reading a 5-month-old magazine in the doctor's office? Well, that's where our friends over at Zoom Care come in. You can see a doctor, but see the doctor virtually on the same day at a time that you choose. Your visit will start on time. It might end with a prescription in hand. Going to the doctor is easy. So schedule now at zoomcare.com. That's ZOOMCARE.com to schedule your appointment today. Zoom Care is going to have an in-person clinic in Lodo opening on April 16th, but also something we've told you about is that you can take care of your medical needs virtually through Zoom's video care. It's like taking a trip to the doctor, except you're doing it from your couch. It's possible that, guys, you may never have to sit in a doctor's office again. And the other thing, I mentioned this earlier, but if you've got something that's bothering you, you don't want to wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks to get a diagnosis. You want that diagnosis as soon as possible so you can go on and take the steps to getting better. You want that prescription. You want to move on with your life. And that's why Zoom's video care is working for so many people. So check them out at zoomcare.com. That's ZOOMCARE.com. Get all the details you need. If something's bothering you, go to Zoom Care. They'll help you out and they'll do it fast.
Zach, you got big plans for the birthday?
Oh boy, little maybe takeout with my girlfriend, my wonderful girlfriend again. She's just right behind the camera, so the beautiful girlfriend.
How about ice cream cake? I mean, is that happening today?
Bubblegum ice cream cake?
Oh man, you're killing me. Oh, that sounds double layered bubblegum and cotton candy. Give me that bright blue and bright pink. Oh, yes. That gif of that kid just eating cotton candy at like the Rockies game or baseball game. That's gonna be me later, guys.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's the proper way to celebrate the big 2-9.
Yeah, I mean, right? I'm not even in my 30s yet. Might as well enjoy it.
Exactly. Why not just live like you're 12?
29 is the new 12.
Exactly. That's what everyone's been saying.
And maybe some Breck brews too. Absolutely brews. Some Breck brews.
But if 29 is the new 12, are you legally able to drink Breck brews?
Now we're getting too complicated now.
Splitting hairs. All right. One last advertisement here. Gotta give a shout out to our friends at Green Mountain Dental Group. The best damn family-owned dentist group in the metro area. Think of it this way. If you're going to eat a cake of bubblegum and cotton candy ice cream, you're going to need to see our friends over at Green Mountain Dental Group. They'll take care of you. They are family. They're part of the DNVR family. They come down to the bar to watch the Avs game. So make sure that you use them if you're looking for a dentist after your repulsive birthday cake.
Hey, watch yourself. And guys, one thing I'm going to do today, sign up for a vaccine so that I can see you guys at the DNVR bar very soon.
Wow, a birthday present for you to us.
Exactly. There we go.
That's amazing. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Three Ring Circus. This was an absolute blast. We will talk to you all soon.